So I'm going to start with telling you about this book, Math Adventures with Python, and I thought it was really quite good. And I didn't end up trying anything from it, but what I was really interested was the stuff from page 186 until page 200, and this was the grazing sheep program, and I'll show you what that's like. So there's a few pictures in here. It shows you how to set it up. So you have the grass with grid lines, and then you have your herd of sheep. They're just little dots, right? And around where the sheep eat, there's patches of brown grass. So this just anyway. And then there's multicolored sheep you can put in. So then you have sheep eating, grazing, eating the grass and reproducing. And then the grass regrows and the sheep populate the whole screen. So, and this one's interesting too, giving the purple sheep an advantage. So, I really wanted to learn how to make this work. But somebody else has it on hold, and I won't have the opportunity to, at least not right now. But somebody might bring it back, and then maybe I can deal with that later on. Anyway, before I get back to reading about cancer, which I do not even like learning about it. It really stresses me out. It makes me very unhappy. But it's got to be done. So that's what I'm doing. So it's omega-3 in this little cup.
Okay.
Okay. The rest you know what it is. So I'm going to be talking about the coddling of the American mind. How Good Intentions and Bad Ideas Are Setting Up a Generation of Failure by Greg Lukianoff and Jonathan Haidt. And Greg Lukianoff is the president and CEO of the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education. Graduated law from Stafford. He specializes in free speech and First Amendment issues. Jonathan Haidt, New York University Stern School of Business, PhD in social psychology from University of Pennsylvania. So that's where their background is. And so I'll go through my notes, and then I'll kind of talk about it in the end. And I don't know how far James got in that book, but I have to return it, so it's going back. Page 4, 3 great myths. Fragility, what doesn't kill you makes you weaker. 2, emotional reasoning, always trust your feelings. 3, us versus them, life is a battle between good people and evil people. 15, change rapidly between 2013 and 2017 on campuses. Why? 1, the rising political polarization and cross-party animosity of U.S. politics, which maybe led to rising hate crimes and harassment on campus.
Which just led to...
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't write it down right. 2, rising level of teen anxiety and depression, which have made many students more desirous of protection and more receptive to the great untruths. 3, changes in parenting practices, which have amplified children's fears even as childhood becomes increasingly safe. 4, the loss of free play and unsupervised risk-taking, both of which kids need to become self-governing adults. 5, the growth of campus bureaucracy and expansion of its protective mission. 6, an increasing passion for justice combined with changing ideas and about what justice requires. 20, in mid-90s, 4 in 1,000 had a peanut allergy. By 2008, 14 in 1,000 had a peanut allergy. Regular eating of peanuts elicits a protective immune response. Avoidance causes allergic immune reaction. Page 39, critical thinking, connect one's claims to reliable evidence in a proper way. 40, some profs encourage mental habits similar to the cognitive distortions in their promotion of the concept of microaggressions. brief and commonplace daily verbal, behavioral, or environmental indignities, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative racial slights and insults towards people of color. From article by Daryl Dwing Sue. When Sue defined the slights entirely in terms of the listener's interpretation, he encouraged people to make such misperceptions. He encouraged emotional reasoning, to conclude that someone committed an act of aggression against them. 46. Political correctness discourages use of terms that are reasonably taken to be demeaning. But if you teach students that intention doesn't matter, and you also encourage students to find more things offensive, and you tell them that whoever says or does the things they find offensive are aggressors who have committed acts of bigotry against them, then you're probably fostering feelings of victimization, anger, and hopelessness in your students. If someone wanted to create an environment of perpetual anger and intergroup conflict, this would be an effective way to do it. 58. The human mind is prepared for tribalism. Tribalism is our evolutionary endowment for banding together to prepare for intergroup conflict. Morality binds and blinds. 97. Milo riot at UC Berkeley, February 1st, 17. Violence used to stop. A speaker and people were injured. The violent not punished. The speech was considered to be violent. 96. Speech is not violence. 98.
With very few exceptions, like when you put a contract out with someone.
101. Political witch hunts. Arise quickly. 2. Crimes against the collective. 3. Charges trivial, fabricated. 4. Fear of defending the accused. 104. In today's culture of safetyism, intent no longer matters, only perceived impact does. Hypatia, A Journal of Feminist Philosophy, March 29, 17. In defense of transracialism, Rebecca Tuval juxtaposed Caitlyn Jenner's gender transition with Rachel Dolezal's white woman who identified as black. Critics called article transphobic, violent, and all that is wrong with white feminism. 107, August 2017. Amy Wax and Larry Alexander wrote a short opinion essay paying the price for a breakdown of the country's bourgeois culture. Many of today's social problems caused by the fading away of bourgeois cultural script that used to compel Americans to get married before you have children and strive to stay married for their sake. Get the education you need for gainful employment, work hard, and avoid idleness. All cultures are not equal, or at least they are not equal in preparing people to be productive in an advanced economy. That's a quote. Anthropologists generally agree that cultures and subcultures instill different goals, skills, and virtues in their members. 113. Politically homogeneous communities are more susceptible to witch hunts, particularly when they feel threatened from outside. 121. Trend in 2017 for profs to join open letters denouncing their colleagues and demanding the retraction or condemnation of their work. 137. The polarization cycle influencing university life. One left-wing prof says, write something provocative, inflammatory on social media, mainstream media, in lecture or a publication. 2. Right-wing media retail story, often out of context. 3. Angry posts follow and prof emailed, threatened, etc. 4. College admin fails to protect prof. 5. Right focus. Prof said, wrote. Left focus. Sexist, racist reaction to it. Effective polarization. People increasingly hate and fear the other party and people in it. Girls have higher rates of depression than boys. Depression rates increased between 2010 and 2016. Now 1 in 5 girls report symptoms of depression. More males commit suicide, according to figure 7.2 on 156. I couldn't quite understand the figures, honestly. 200 per 100.
More try suicide.
I don't know.
Women do.
Maybe.
But more succeed than men. They tend to use guns and stuff that's more final. Poison.
200 per, no, what did I write down? Yeah, 200 per 100,000 boys Age range of 15 to 19 in 2001. Girls' rate rose beginning 2010 to 630 per 100,000 and 215 caused. Smartphones. Depression causes kids to spend more time with their screens. 153. 156. 1 of every 7 women at U.S. universities now thinks of herself as having a psychological disorder, up from 1 in 18 in the last years of the millennials. iGen, Gen Z, born between 1995 and 2012, are very different from the millennials, the generation just prior. iGens grow up more slowly. 18-year-olds today have spent less time unsupervised and have hit fewer developmental milestones on their path to autonomy, compared with 18-year-olds in previous generations. 1972. They're talking about helicopter parenting. Parents encouraged to overprotect children now, but Lenore Stenese pointed out that great children's stories involve kids going off on adventures without adult supervision through parody. Middle class and increased tendency to parent by concerted cultivation, while working class uses less natural growth kind of parenting. Wealthy class might be more fragile. 189. Yale's acceptance rate was around 20% in 80s and 90s. By 2003, admission rate was down to 11%, and in 2017 it was 7%. The only point of having more is having more than everyone else. William Desesiewicz. 202. Wow, 2002, that'd be a long day. Speech regulation in American colleges. 1. Vague and overbroad speech codes. 2. Free speech zones. Encourage unsupervised exploring, risk-taking, and productive disagreement. Debate, not conflict. Teach basics of cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness. Use principle of charity. More recess, less supervision. 249. 2 hours a day is a maximum for device use. Protect your child's sleep. 256. Establish a practice of not responding to public outrage. The more reactive universities are to public outrage or illiberal demands for censorship and punishment, the more outrage and illiberal demands they will receive. Do not allow the heckler's vote. 257. Admit more students who are older and can show evidence of their ability to live independently. Adulthood is arriving later and later, so admit more students who can demonstrate a measure of autonomy. 258. Include viewpoint diversity and diversity policies. Students need to understand that they aren't being harassed when their most cherished beliefs are challenged. 259. Don't just trust your feelings. Critical thinking is important. Now, I have a few things to say about the notes here. One thing, I don't believe that the world is a safer place and you can just let your children go independently explore urban life. I don't think that's a good idea. Now, having said that, when I was young, we lived on a farm, and my sister and I, we often talk about it, how we were out, as soon as the sun was up and until the sun was down, we were out playing. We'd come back in when we got hungry a couple times a day, and then we were out again, because it was fun. And we were not supervised that way. When we were out, we were off on our own. But we had, we were told, you don't go past here, you don't go past here, and we stayed there. We weren't the kind of kids that were off trying to throw each other in the dugout or anything like that. We weren't allowed to go there, and we did not go. So our exploring was limited, and I think parents have to do that. They have to look at, okay, well, where is a safe place for my child to do some independent discovery, and maybe go for a picnic somewhere where you know what the terrain's like, what the child is going to possibly come into contact. You might not want to have a picnic where there's a lot of rattlesnakes or something. You know what I mean? Somewhere safe where the child can explore. But he was going on in the book about how people are told, oh, don't let your child go into the bathroom, a public washroom alone, and this and that, and it's like, yeah, don't let them go into, I wouldn't. I mean, I go into the public washrooms at the library, say. You'd think public libraries should be pretty safe. Well, they've had a lot of problems with people doing all sorts of drugs and stuff in the public washrooms, for one thing. And they were having, this has been years now, they were having problems with drug deals in the library. And I'd go into the children's library washroom, and I'd find people washing their hair in there, in the sinks in the washroom, and stuff like that. Yeah, don't let your children go exploring the washroom on their own. That's ridiculous. You'd better go in there with them. And so their idea of, oh yeah, you're helicopter parenting. Well, you know what? The environment makes it necessary for people to do that. And there's no way I'd let my child just go wander around doing whatever. Not in this city. I'd be worried about them. I'd be looking through the window at them from in the yard, in my yard here. I would worry about them, honestly. Boy, oh boy. Mind you, I would not raise my child here. That would be insane. So, anyway, what else was I going to say about this stuff? Do you want to jump in here while I try to find another point I was going to make? Talk about anything?
Well, these guys have got a point coming from the right wing. We can write a somewhat similar thing from the left wing point. About the craziness of right wingers. Well, there's two different kinds. There's the Trump trailer trash kind, and then there's the elite Koch brothers type, the classic Republican thing. They all hate democracy. Like the Trumpers, I don't have to tell you, hate democracy. The classic Republicans hate democracy. And, oh yeah, left-wingers hate democracy. You gotta have, well, they're fake left-wingers, but I think it's the majority of left-wingers. They, you gotta have freedom of speech with real democracy. You can't go shutting it down. And so these fake left-wingers are, you scratch them and they end up being Stalinists, like ultimately in their underlying motives. They want to censor and they want to punish. It's not just censoring, let's erase this, but let's erase this individual. And it starts, of course, because they've only got so much power with people losing their jobs and losing their positions at university, the students and stuff like that. But if they were left to their own resources, they'd be back to Stalin type of stuff. They're witch hunters. It's no getting over it. And they're out to punish.
I was going to mention something about, I don't think that 18-year-olds lately, the young adults of today, I don't think that they are as... that they've reached as many emotional milestones or whatever, developmental milestones. I think the youth of today, the young adults today, I think they're accustomed to getting the gold star for mediocrity. And
or worse.
Or worse. And so, I've heard this from a few different people who are talking about people going through university now and getting a rubber stamp. You just, you go through and you can't even write worth a darn. But you just hire somebody or convince somebody to do it for you for free. And all of a sudden you walk out with your master's thesis done. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, what is the world going to be like when the professionals are just they've rubber stamped their way into positions. They've just
Bridges falling down.
I mean, somebody has to know what they're doing.
Yep.
You can't just, I mean, people have said to me, oh, everyone, like, this is coming from a lot of different people. I mean, in academic circles, people are talking to me and saying everyone wants to be a lawyer or a management person today. And it's like, yeah, well, those are parasitic sort of post-academic kind of positions, right? That's what they want. They don't want to have to do the work for their pay.
Even
they
mental
want to
work.
parasitize off of everyone else. Well, who are they going to parasitize off of when every one of them is wanting to be a parasite? You know? There's nobody left that wants to do actual work. So, and you know, the ones that are accustomed to doing actual work, well, we're dying off of cancer. We've been whipped too hard, and we're going. So, good luck. Enjoy.
Well, what will happen is there will always be a society that will work a little bit harder than others.
Anyway, so now
and they'll end up enslaving people here.
Well, yeah, that's what it's going to turn into.
Yeah. Good luck with that, you lawyers.
Enjoy.
Have your law degree and you'll be working at McDonald's. Well, it won't be McDonald's. It'll be something like, could be Chinese or it could be Korean or something like that. It could be, who else is doing well? I don't want to pick on the Asians here.
No, I know.
The Finns. The Finns actually seem to have a cool system that works reasonably well.
So now I'm back on to talking about cancer. I've transitioned, and here we go. Dr. Robert Scott Bell, DA, homeopathy, I guess. Florida, history of food synthetic chemistry from chemicals, maybe, from Germany. Thought to be benign and altering it negatively. So in my notes, a lot of words, if they start the same, I leave off the ending. So my notes, I have to piece it together. There's a lot of things I do to abbreviate so I can actually take notes, decent notes, that say if I'm going to university or something, or if I'm listening to something on TV. I mean, you don't have a lot of time to write things down while somebody's saying, so you got to try to figure something out. Anyway, so my notes, sometimes you might have to refer back to the DVD if you're actually interested in anything that I'm saying. No canned food before 1940s. Bisphenol A turns food that might have been benign into a can into non-food. Body goes into fight or flight response when we put food into us and it shouldn't be there. Oh, that food, the non-food. Food should make us heal and nourish us. Pesticide levels tested in family, but over the course of 2 weeks, when switched entirely to organic, the pesticide level in the family's urine dropped daily. The body will heal if you let it. Cholesterol is protective of the lining. Higher cholesterol correlated with longevity. High cholesterol provides more protection against cancer. Cannabis, endocannabinoid, whatever, system, especially in gastrointestinal system. CBD, not psychoactive. THC, psychoactive. It has cured cancer in some terminal patients by accumulation over the generations. Children born to parents who are full of chemicals. It's never too late to detox and start trying to reduce your toxin load. Liver is congested in the chronically inflamed. Bryonia alba hops or Nux vomica poison nut or Chelidonian selendine plant and convert them into homeopathic by cereal dilution and succussion so you can safely take them. Dandelion, you're not chasing symptoms. Nux vomica works with stomach and liver. Once you have the detox pathways opened up, work homeopathy. Lee, with digestive system. Work with plants which will restore digestion and assist assimilation. Homeopathic supportive digestion. Now address inflammation and free radicals, system inflammation, rust toxicodendron, poison ivy. Taken for arthritic pain and works for inflammation of circulatory system. I don't know how. I guess they put it through their magical dilution and succession system, and somehow it doesn't make you itchy. I don't know. I don't know anything about this stuff. Ruta pulsatilla, unclog body of toxins so body can heal itself. Even if you don't target cancer specifically with homeopathic medicine, if you use a homeopathic baseline, you'll heal better. Erin Elizabeth, Florida, Breast Cancer Awareness Month on October. Originally, it was a peach ribbon and became pink. Very little money is spent on research. The woman who started giving out the ribbons, the peach ones, in 1992, didn't want Estee Lauder and others to commercialize her ribbon idea. Unhealthy companies advertise as though they are part of the solution, not the problem. Kentucky Fried Chicken was a sponsor one year, and their product won't prevent or cure cancer. We're more aware about breast cancer, but what is really being done? They've sexualized breast cancer. It's offensive, really. Cancer isn't sexy. Breast cancer is not sexy. We hear that 1 in 2 of us will get cancer, and then no one wants to bother with ideas of prevention. The longer you spend wearing an underwire bra, the higher your risk. And I'm wondering if it could be the metals on us reacting with the EMFs now. My sister was saying the other day...
it could be the metals themselves, but
yeah,
it could be both.
I don't know. But my sister was telling me that they're coming close to you being able to be connected anywhere on the planet. So that means there's enough towers everywhere that you're getting things beamed through you anywhere you go. So when you're hiking in the mountains now, you'll be able to get reception, and if you can get reception, you're getting blasted wherever you are. So it's just something to think about, right? And more people feel that they need to be connected for some reason. I don't need to be connected most of the time. I don't need to be connected. I would be perfectly fine if I had to go use a public phone at the library to phone people. You know what I mean? I don't need it.
Having access to a phone, as someone being able to access you, sometimes I feel like connected the way a condemned person feels connected to the gallows once they've let the trapdoor go. It's just it's around your neck. It just won't let you go. So I don't know. You see people, they'll get some sort of message coming in and they get this slavering smile on their face, and wow, that is real loserdom when you're getting a fulfillment that way. Wow.
70% of breast cancer starts where the underwire is pressed against the lymph nodes. Lymph is important to detoxify the body. Antiperspirant is not healthy. We're meant to sweat. Sweating is healthy. When you're healthy, sweat doesn't smell very bad, and I've noticed that. If you detox and then you get sweating, it doesn't even smell like anything. If you've already detoxed, your sweat doesn't stink, and you know when you need to detox because your sweat starts stinking.